All right, happy Friday. It's Friday Follies here on the Coffee Run with John from ProCraps. I got a special guest queued up in the green room. His name is Toro. You may have heard of him a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. If you got questions for him, line them up. Put a queue in front of the questions. I'll start getting them filtered through and getting in there. But if failing your questions, I've got questions. And he and I are probably just bullshit for a while. But yeah, here we go. Let's get started. I got a couple of quick things to go through with you before we bring him on, but let's go. Let's jump into here and remind you of what is going on there. Oh, you know what? The screen's wrong. Shoot. Let me do this. Let me, quick adjustment here. Can I do that? Hey, there it is. Reminder of the Dice Cruise. I haven't told you about this in a couple of days, but yeah, the Dice Cruise leaving out of Galveston, Texas on April 28th. It's a 7-day cruise that I'd love to have y'all with me on. Potentially, we'll have Howard Rock and Roller there. He's fighting some illness right now, so hopefully he can make it. But if not, it's me. It's all the guys from Premier Hosting, Eric Hazel and Michael Feldman and Don Wood will all be there, and we'll be holding classes and that kind of thing. The thing about cruise ships that's cool is you can practice on their tables when they're closed, which is pretty awesome. So, yeah, see you out there in April. My number is on screen here, by the way. It's 702-518-6442. Drop me a line if you're interested in going. If you've got comp packages from other, like Boyd or whatever, let me know, and we'll get you all hooked up with the cruise. So hopefully you'll see you out there. And if I'm slow in getting back to you, I'm having some troubles with that phone number. So I don't know what's going on, but that phone number is not working so well. If you reach out to me there and don't get me, jump into the Discord and find me in there. All right. News and notes today. I have nothing new to say. I said it all yesterday. Yesterday, boy, I asked a couple of simple DI questions, like really simple ones. And it's funny. I'm not sure if it's the way I ask my questions or if it's the questions I'm asking, but sometimes things go off the rails when I ask them. I thought they were pretty simple questions, but they took a little life of their own yesterday. So we'll talk about that maybe with our guest today. I will recap the daily paycheck with you very quickly, and then we're going to jump in with El Toro. So let's get into that real quick. The paycheck, we won again today. We won to one. So 2 days in a row, I had one shooter, 10, 12 rolls each. Bam, bam, paycheck made. I tell you, this strategy, it's a quick win. If you hit the pass line, you're just in and out, right? If it loses, it does fight back, but it's a kind of a crawl back. But it hasn't gotten its tail kicked, really. One time we had a bad ass kicking, and it was because of me being a degenerate. So other than that, it's been doing really good. I think that the secondary bankroll has been a fun thing to watch. I may switch to that next month. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, quick recap there. I really want to talk to my friend. Let's go bring him on. Let's go bring on El Toro, which is why we're all here. So El Toro, good morning and welcome, sir. I got you out of bed. Can you hear me? Oh, we lost him. We lost him. What happened? He was there. He was there a second ago. Did I hang up on him? Ah, here he comes. Sorry about that. I must have hung up on him. I see him dialing in. Hold on one second, folks. Let me get him out of the green room here. Guest in the green room. How do I do that? Assign. There we go. Toro, can you hear me?
Hung up on me.
I did. I hit a bad button. I suck at this. I'm not Jeff. Jeff's a better interviewer than I am.
You and me both.
Yeah, technology's hard. The thing is, these buttons on this freaking app are so small. I end up clicking them when I move around. I'm going to go ahead and filter my screen, by the way, and look for the letter Q. So if you have a question, again, capital Q to throw them out there. So I got you out of bed. I know, you're living the professional gambler life, right? You sleep into when you feel like getting up. Not like me. I got to get up at certain times to work. You're just doing your thing, right? How's it going?
Buddy, it's going okay. It's going okay. Whatever's been going around got me after Christmas, and it's been hanging on tight to me.
Still.
Like it's in love with me.
You're still fighting that?
Yeah, it's like in my chest and in my nose. Is like I can't get. It's like the final stages of whatever it is I had.
Well, last time I talked to you, you sounded like absolute garbage. You were bad. You sound much better today.
Yeah. It just comes and goes. It's weird. Some days I feel like I'm 100 feet tall, and then all of a sudden I feel like I'm 6 feet under.
Man, that sucks. That sucks. So I'm gonna fire questions off to you right away because I got three. The first three questions are the same question. Are you
Okay.
seeing them? First one is,
Uh,
I'll read them to you in order. Duracell. Has El Toro pulled his craps table out of storage? Arcades. Toro. Any plans to do more videos? A knowledge series would be awesome. Dice Dr. Dan. Question for El Toro. Will you be pulling out new videos? What's the story, dude? What is the story? Now, when you moved, now, here's the thing. People don't know this, right? When you moved last time, right? You've moved a couple times. You pulled out your phone and said, "Hey, John, I got something to show you." And you showed me your table. It was all set up.
yeah.
We were talking. You were throwing dice. I'm hearing the crack, and I'm like, "He's coming back. He's coming back." What's going on?
Oh, we ended up moving back to Texas. It was too crazy
Yeah,
up in Minnesota for me. So
yeah.
we
Too
came back
crazy
to
in lots of
Texas
ways up
where
there. Yeah.
we came back to Texas, and then I got everything was in storage, and just recently I actually have just re-put my damn table together because I'm looking at it going, it's not the table right now. I'm looking at how I'm playing, and I'm like, God dang, I need to start practicing again.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're good for a while, it's okay, but it's because I don't go with that much frequency to the casino anymore, like I used to. But I have to practice, man. I've got to practice. So I reassembled my table, and I actually put my lights up too. I'm getting
Nice.
closer.
So that's a great question. Actually, it just popped into my head. So you have had your table kind of out in storage, whatever else, right?
Yeah,
And you do play. Like you're playing. You're going there to do work. You're not going there to party, right?
that's right.
And as a guy that
No,
I
I mean,
know,
yeah, only if I
sometimes,
go with my buddy Big Money Mike. Then we go to
right?
fucking around.
I feel like Mike brings the party, doesn't he? Mike
Yeah,
brings.
he
It's not
does.
like Mike brings the party. But so here's my question: You, as a guy who goes to put in work most of the time, and a guy who I know likes to throw, right? You consider yourself a decent thrower, right? And your videos used to show you practicing. The fact that you have no table, what are you focusing on? You must be all in on your betting style instead of the throwing and making the throwing more of an enhancement than that being your primary. Is that like if you were going to put a scale on it, what percentage of what you're thinking about at the table is your toss versus your betting? Because you haven't been able to practice your tossing for a
Interesting.
while. Has that changed?
That's an interesting question, and yes, it has. So here's what happens. Believe it or not, the most important part of in at least in my mind, the most important part of this game is how you're betting. It doesn't matter about the throws. If you don't know how to bet, you are not going to make money. Just bottom line. But what happens to me is, remember, I go heavier on me, and I primarily bet on me. If I'm just standing there bored at the table, and I'm kind of getting a little bit wrapped up in the excitement of it. You play, and playing on someone else is okay because I'm playing lower levels on somebody. But once the dice come to me, my mindset has always been, okay, now I'm going to make my money here, or I'm going to recoup a little bit of the drawdown that I had on a couple of other shooters. The
Mm-hmm.
0.7 out, right? It's like, okay, shit, they smacked me. So when I grab these dice and I haven't been practicing, what do you think is running through your head? Is I hope I don't
Yeah,
schwack myself.
100%.
You see what I
But
mean? I'm
yeah, but
human,
the
just like
mindset there,
I'm not superhuman. I'm not superhuman,
yeah.
guys. It's I grab the dice, and for me, it is muscle memory. But if you don't practice, I don't
Hmm.
give a damn who you are. You are not going to be at the top of your game. You're going to be better than the most, but you are not going to be at the top of your game. And this is where this problem comes in, where people start to outbet their skill. They
Yeah, for
overbet
sure,
it, and
for
I
sure.
am just as guilty because if I'm if sorry,
It's okay.
I, for me, when I go to play and I put my bets out there. My bets are routine because it's already memorized and it's in
Hmm.
my head, right? It's second nature to me. But because I haven't been putting the time behind my dice, I honestly don't deserve to be grabbing those dice and betting at that level for myself.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's a confidence
So
thing.
no,
Ultimately,
it's not a confidence thing. Not at all a confidence thing. It's I didn't put the practice behind it
that's what I
to
mean. It's a lack
justify
of.
the bets.
It's your level of confidence in yourself, is what I'm saying. It's your level of confidence in what you've been. If you're not practicing, then your confidence level's got to be a little lower then, right? But you're still betting on you more than other people, even in that situation.
I still bet on me because I'm the odds of me out the odds of me shooting better than everyone else around the table is pretty high. So the confidence is still there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the I didn't put the practice behind it. So for example, Tiger Woods, as good as he is, right, or as good as he was, if he doesn't practice, he's still going to be good, isn't he? He's just
Well,
not going
yeah,
to be as
right.
sharp and
Yeah,
as good as he was because he's not practicing, or whoever, whatever athlete it is, right? You got to practice. You have to. And I'm finding myself in that area where I had to pull my table out, and I have to freaking practice.
yeah. You feel like you're jonesing a little bit when you're not
I
practicing.
got,
Like I
no,
feel that way.
I just got lazy, buddy. Honest to God, I just got freaking like everybody
Well,
else. We get lazy. You sit around because I'm not going. I go 3 times a week now,
mhm,
and it's like now you just kind of get lazy. You lay around. I wake up whenever the hell I feel like it, and like, I'll go.
right.
Oh, the weather's cold. I don't want to get out in the car.
I hear you. I hear you.
Don't want to brush off
Yeah.
the ice of the porch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can get into that sort of groove where you're just like not
Mm.
doing nothing. And
I don't hear you at all, John. Hey, can you hear me?
how is that? Can you hear me now? Am I
Oh, there
back?
you are. I can
Yeah,
hear you again. I don't. What did you say?
my microphone here ran out of juice. I must not have charged it last night or whatever.
Oh,
Boy, technology's hard. Yeah, what I was getting to was that whole like again, getting lazy, like you said, is easy to do. And it's funny. Like COVID fired me up a little bit, but boy, the you can get into a rut where a week will go by, and it feels like an hour went by, like nothing happened, right? And you
uh-huh.
just fall into that pattern, right? Has it made you? But again, you're still betting higher on yourself than other people, and
Yes.
I want to ask you a mindset question on that because this is interesting to me. And we talked about your confidence in yourself or lack thereof, whatever it is, drives kind of your betting. When you say I bet lighter on other people, is that a trust thing? Because I think sometimes I've thought like if I'm going to burn my money, like if I'm going to go down on a PSO, I'd rather it be me than somebody else. Like I'll take ownership of that
I
versus
agree with that.
right. But it's not like I'm blaming them for having a PSO because they're random. I just like, hey, I'll own it. You know what I mean? Is that how you feel about it, or do you look at that as
It's
just
a true
here's my
statement.
bet around?
If I'm gonna lose a larger chunk of money, I'm gonna lose it on myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And either way, even though I'm putting the bet out there, yes, I'm still losing it, but I'm I'm kind of not. I don't want to be foolish and put down 640 across as soon as a point on a dude that just chucked the dice down there. Now, granted, again, the dice have 1 out of 36 chances of rolling up a combination of us. Or sorry, 1 out of 36. It's got what 6 different combinations out of 36 that it can pop up a seven.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's a game of chance, and now I'm playing a game of chance with $640, and if it's .7 out, then I'm going to kick myself in the arse.
Mm-hmm.
Foolishness.
But it's still a game of chance when you have the dice to some degree,
It is
right?
still a game. It's still to some degree a game of chance. Um, but for me in a way is you kind of, if you're practiced, and lately it has been not so great, but if you practice enough, you get back to being a little bit more, um, what do you call that thing? More, that the muscle memory about everything that you're doing, from the way you're gripping the dice to the toss to, getting actually squaring up your landing zone it gets honed in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of reducing a little bit of the chance from there. I'm actually trying to, in this case, back to your dice control type thing. I'm going to control what I can control more accurately. And if I'm not practiced enough, I cannot control everything that I'm supposed to be able to control. Now, I will never in a million years, neither will any other person out there or even mathematician, be able to calculate, quantify, compartmentalize what happens to two dice the minute they hit the back wall. Sorry,
Right.
I'm going to disagree with a lot of different people there with that statement, but I will say, prove it to me.
Yeah.
Prove
It's
it
the
to me.
equalizer.
Prove it to me. Yeah,
It's the
yes, it
equalizer,
is.
right? Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is, and that's why you try to hit them. You try to get the dice to where they're going to either first bounce, hit immediately at the base rail where it's flat piece of rubber,
Mm-hmm.
the little angle piece, or you get them to where the second bounce hits there and they don't touch the damn pyramids, which is tough to do if you don't practice.
Sure. For sure. And I think that goes into the whole energy control thing. And I'll
Everything.
tell you what, when I watched my slow-mo, and you probably have done the same thing, what's the worst thing isn't even the back wall. I say this all the time. The worst thing and I was surprised by this when I looked at some of the video of my dice, when when the dice touch, it does so much more damage than that back wall does. Like holy crap! Like I figured the back wall was going to be an equalizer, and of course it is, right? When you look at slow mo, you're like, God, that back wall just fucked up everything I tried. But if they ever touch, holy cannoli, man, those things go like a billion miles an hour. Like they pick up energy, and it's
Yeah.
like,
I was going to say
jeez,
one of them gets hammered into the felt, and the other one takes the energy of both dice and then gets
yeah,
shot around like a bullet.
yeah. It
It's like
looks
a
like a
ricochet. It's a pure ricochet. It's like
oh,
wow.
it's brutal. It's kind of funny
It's
to watch, but
yeah. So
um,
I hate when my dice kiss.
oh, it's I
I
call it
hate
the
it.
kiss of death. Kiss of death, man. It's just like the worst
Yeah,
thing. It's like even
exactly.
if you had control, like and I think you say this
Instant
too.
seven, instant seven, buddy, instant seven.
It sure seems like it. It sure seems like it. But yeah, like even if you can like you say, control what you can control, all the things up to a point. And if that happens, whatever you try to do just didn't work. You know, you're out of you're SOL as they say, right?
Yeah,
So let's go back to betting. And I want to ask you your betting question because I think um, I get hung up on um, words sometimes, right? We everybody knows the joke, right? The John trending joke, right? Because I get so locked in for some reason and laser focused on my
it's
definition.
because you're trying to be right, bro. You're trying to be
I know,
smarter than everybody in the room.
I am, I am, and I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it, right? And I talk about this all the time. Doesn't make any difference, right? Like the word that you use doesn't ultimately matter to describe what it is that you're seeing, right? And that's why, but I lock in because for some reason I had this like the definition is, like just be careful. You also have a word that you kind of lock in on, which is strategy. And I've heard you say a number of
Yeah,
times, don't talk to me
yeah.
about strategy. There's no such thing as a strategy. The entire, the entire betting universe on YouTube, whether it's roulette or Bach or craps, strategy, all you hear about is the next great roulette strategy. Honest to God, all those are martingales or every you watch go watch roulette
Are you wanting me
videos.
to hang up on you?
No, no, no. I'm
Then
saying,
don't
but
say Martingale again,
oh my God,
please.
but seriously, watch roulette videos. That's all those guys do. They marty everything up. I'm like, is that the strategy? You're going to bet on 34
Yeah,
numbers and martingale up. This guy's betting on 32 numbers and martingaling up, and that's the winner, right?
that's
Um,
funny.
it's hysterical, but but everything is a strategy, right? All of us channels, Jeremy stuff, everybody's like, what strategy are you playing? You hate that word. Why do you hate the
Yeah,
word
I don't
strategy?
like. We had a brief talk about it. So
Yeah.
here's why I don't like strategy. Strategy compartmentalizes a thought.
Hmm.
And if you lock in your thought and hone them in, you leave zero room for flexibility. And the reason I hate that strategy piece is this. Most everybody who watches YouTube is looking for a way to win. And he's looking for a way to win, or she is looking for a way to win because they've been losing. So they're looking for a solution to their problem. So when someone
Right.
posts up on YouTube to the masses, this strategy just can't win. This strategy just can't lose. Well, yeah, okay, clickbait got me. Let me click on it.
Hmm.
the YouTube personality accomplished what they were looking for. But now the person who actually is looking for a real answer and a need looks at it and says, aha, this is my aha moment. Yeah, if only I had thought about this type of strategy. Well, then when they go to the casino with the mindset that this is the strategy that I'm going to play, they've locked in their thoughts. They haven't opened up their minds. They're dialed in to, I'm going to play this specific way the minute I get to the table. And by God, it won on YouTube. So I'm going to put more money than normal on this table and I'm going to win because the strategy told me. Well, it's bullshit. Sorry. You've locked in. Now you've locked in your mind. You're
Right.
narrow minded all of a sudden. That's what strategy is. It's narrowing your mind to only one way of thinking that this is going to be the winning solution. If there were such a thing as a strategy that works, again, everybody would be playing it.
Hmm.
Everybody at the table would be playing the exact same thing because it's a winner. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well,
Right?
one of the
And
things that
then
I've
then and then the casino would say, "Oh, fuck it, get this table out of here."
right. Yeah, it wouldn't be a game, right? Honestly, like,
But again, so strategy. That's why I
yeah.
hate that word.
Hmm.
The strategy. What a strategy should be is you. What is your strategy?
Hmm.
Meaning, John, how do you plan? What do you plan on doing the minute you walk through those casino doors and you smell all the casino smells, and all of a sudden you are in Fantasyland. You're in your playground,
Hmm.
your favorite one of all, right? And then you hear all the bells and whistles going off on the slot machines all the way through to the middle of the casino that you have to pass through everything in order to get to that table,
Sure, sure.
right? All of a sudden, you have just been indoctrinated into, I'm going to be gambling like crazy. What is your plan? That's what your strategy should be. Is my strategy is, what am I doing when I get here? That's my strategy. How
Yeah.
I play is going to be dependent on what I see happening at the table in those conditions. So what is my strategy? My strategy is, I'm going to go to the casino. I'm going to be buying in for X amount of dollars, and I'm going to play for about so much time, give or take, and then I'm hitting the road back home. That's going to be my
Yep.
strategy. How I play, again, is dependent on what's happening out there. That's kind of what I see is, what's my strategy.
Mhm. So you're actually blowing it back. You're taking it back a level, which is interesting. So I was saying this yesterday, where the casino's got this like huge advantage over you. They have an advantage in the house edge. They have an advantage of you over all the other external forces, like the drinking and everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're being strategic. So again, strategy comes from strategic. They share the same etymology. You're saying it's
Yes.
mindset too. It's I'm coming in. My strategy involves me getting to the table without being distracted. It involves my bankroll. It involves my initial betting plan. And think about like an actual battle plan, like in the military. Like you got a plan, and if you just like the British just march in a straight freaking line, you'll get picked off by the guys in the trees. And that's how we won that war in the early days, in the early parts of the war, because their strategy was just to kind of march straight through, because
Mm.
that's the way that we always fought wars, right? Back from, you know, until the Hun days, get in the line and march forward. The guerrilla warfare style that we employed changed all that. And I think what you're saying is you can have a plan, battle plan to start with, but you got to adjust a little bit. Now, you know
Mm.
me, right? With the whole trending thing, the adjustments that you can make are slight, but they're important to be able to make them. And I think being able to be nimble and having what you would probably call, I'm going to put words in your mouth, multiple betting plans that you can opt in and opt out of based on what you're feeling or what you're seeing at the table. How how much does that come into the way you play? Because ultimately, when you run enough simulations, and I've done, as you know, millions of them, whatever you're playing out there, it ultimately all is the same. You know what I mean? Like betting just a 6 and the 8, or betting inside, or betting across, or what, it doesn't matter, because the probabilities get you the same way all the time anyway. But in the moment, what are you looking for to make an adjustment to what you're playing? How do you change your betting plan?
What do you mean? I guess maybe you lost me there for a minute.
Yeah, so if you're in, like you're saying, you got to be able to adjust, right?
Yeah.
What's happening? What do you bring multiple betting plans with you, and like in your head, and based on a condition at the table or what you're seeing, feeling, do you change the way that you're betting? And if
Uh,
so, what are some of the triggers that you're looking for um, to make your betting changes?
yeah. I mean, all the time. Sorry, all the time. I'm nimble at the table. My the way I bet is not the same. It's not the same every time. And again, for me, when I when I start seeing, just this is just again me. When I start seeing extremes rolled, two in a row, three, I'm like, turn my bets off or bring it all down. For me, it's just one of those things I look at and go, man, these dice are starting to do all kinds of wonky things. I mean, two 12s in a row back to back. Yep, it
Hmm.
happens all the time, and it's not normal. It
Is that
doesn't
on you?
follow.
Is that
That
on
doesn't
when?
follow. No, no, no,
Okay,
no. When I'm well on me, yeah, even on me too. Yes, if I throw two 12s in a row, something went wonky with how I'm throwing the dice because that's
right.
not what I was anticipating and throwing. It's
Yeah.
not part of the number sequence I'm looking for. And again, when I start seeing, if I'm not setting up for an extreme, for example, you let's say someone is throwing a hardway set or a 3V set or a 2V set. Those sets are not designed, in theory, to result in a 212, 311,
Right.
unless something went askew, right? If it's properly thrown, they're not set
Hmm.
up to do that. But when you see it, if you don't understand that, hey, something happened wonky on my dice, and it's not the dice, it's you, and you do it again and it happens back to back the same result, yeah, something's going on. You better
Hmm.
bring your money down or turn it off. If not, you're going to lose it pretty quick
Right.
because
Well,
you're not as practiced as you should have been.
yeah, I've heard that said before. And it's interesting because um, if you take the discussion of random thrower versus influence thrower or practice thrower,
Mm,
like you're describing somebody who's practicing their throw, and you can tell at the table if somebody's actually trying it, right? If they're ending up in horn numbers and you can watch, okay, the guy's setting a 3V, he's throwing a bunch of 12s, like, okay, something's going wrong. That's a
mm,
trigger for you to stop, right? If the guy's just
100%.
hucking and
It better
chucking,
be a trigger. It better be a
yeah,
trigger for everybody if that's what's happening. But if
right.
they're grabbing the dice randomly and just pitching them down the alley,
Then the two
it
then
doesn't
in that
matter.
case the horns don't scare
That
you,
doesn't
which is interesting.
that
Yeah,
doesn't matter at all.
I've heard that said before. The horns don't scare you from a random throw, but they scare the crap out of you from when they come from an influence shooter. I've heard that said a
Correct.
lot, and I get it. It's hard. It's hard. It'll be hard to. How do I say this right? So you're basically just turning your bets off, and it's hard. I guess hard to quantify that, but I understand what you're saying, right? You expect that set with this guy to produce X, and it's not. If they're in
Here
their
would be
pocket,
here would be an
if they're in their
example.
pocket, right?
Here's I'm going to cut you off. Here would be an
Go
example
for it.
just so that you can understand what I'm saying. If I come out there and I put 640 across and I grab the dice and I send them down there and my very first toss is a 2. They're going to bring the dice back and I'm going to set up my dice again. I'm going to try to figure out really quickly what in the freak happened here, and then I make a little adjustment and then off I go. If it comes back with a 12 or a 3 or an 11, I'm probably going to turn my bets off. And it's not for anything else other than experience for me that I know that I have not fixed what is going wrong with my dice in from the moment that I've grabbed them to the moment they've hit that table on the other side. I haven't fixed that piece. That's what my
Right.
experience tells me, right? And it could be different from everybody else. And some people can say, "Well, Toro, that's bullshit." Yeah, I get it. And you know what? You're entitled to your opinion, but you don't have 640 on the table like I do. And I'm ready to take my money down because
Mm,
I'm not confident right now at this point that I know what I'm doing wrong. So I'm going to turn my bets
mhm.
off on myself. I
Yeah.
don't feel like kicking my own ass at the table.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
totally.
again, it's some people are too proud to admit it, but I'm not. I'm just a normal guy. I'm not a Superman kind of guy, right? Not a superhero.
Sure.
I'm just as human as everybody else, and because I don't have a 9 to 5er that's paying me enough money to throw 640 out there, I'm a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And again, it all comes down to, like I said, reading your own dice, knowing what you do, knowing what you expect. For everybody else, for other people, you can't do that. I'm locked in. I got some questions from the crowd. You ready for some random questions?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Let's see. Here is. Let's see. This is from. Let's see who we have. From Bam. He says, question for El Toro: for someone aspiring to follow your path in doing craps for a living or as a side hustle, what would be the steps to take before risking your bankroll in a casino?
Ooh,
hmm We're gonna come out with both barrels loaded on that question, right? How
oh
do I go
no,
pro?
shit!
Yeah,
Don't
but
do it. Don't do it. Better consult with your doctor first, your cardiologist. Make sure that your heart is willing to withstand the type of stress that this is going to put on you. No,
hmm
that is true though. That is a true statement. Hey, you got
yeah,
to be. Ooh, you better be healthy. Damn, bud. All right, let's pass. I like to pass on that question. No, damn, I don't know what to say on that one.
hmm
Well, so first I would say understand what bankroll is and what buy-in at the table is. It should never be the same amount.
hmm
And if you're going to go and you want to play recreational or you want to try to do it as a side hustle, first determine how much money that you are willing to put outside in your pit and light it on fire. That's going to be your bankroll. Then from that bankroll, determine how many times a month are you going to go to the casino with that bankroll. Usually once a week, 25%. That's how much you take with you. So if your bankroll is $1,000, you should not be buying in with $1,000. That's 100% of your bankroll.
hmm
Buy in with 25%, $250. And if the answer after that is, well, shit, I can't do anything with $250, then don't go to the casino. You don't have enough money. You'll run through your money in 4 weeks.
hmm
Well, that's working for 30 days as a job. That ain't gonna work. You're looking for long term. You've got to be well heeled. You got to be well funded.
Yeah, build that
Uh,
bankroll from zero is hard. Really, really hard.
Hell yeah, it is because people, unfortunately, everyone is impatient. Everyone feels that the casino is going to be the uh, the get rich quick deal. It's also a go broke quick deal.
hmm
That's
Well,
why you got to have the money behind you and don't bring it all. You really have to scale yourself in. Um, that's the starting. That's the very first thing. The second thing is, I would tell you, you would have to kind of get your mind right. Get your mind right. Um, Erase everything that you think you know about craps because you're entering a whole different ball game here. And then you'll understand why I'm, so dug in on the the strategy. You'll understand what I'm talking about because the first time you go in there with, let's say if you do this for real and you go in there and say, okay, I'm going to go do this, and you get hit, you're gonna you're gonna be just like me on this shit. This thing didn't work for shit. This strategy sucks. This is, I mean, god dang, and
mhm.
it's too late because you put too much money out there. Or you're going to win a good amount that first time, giving you the false sense of security so that the second time
Yeah,
you bet larger and then you lose it twice as fast. Then you're a one broke dick walking out.
yeah, truth. And it's hard. Like I said before, it's hard to build a bankroll for gambling from gambling. at
Yeah,
the
that's
at the beginning. It's very hard to do that. So like my
that
my
was a
my 401,
that's a great question, but I mean I didn't even see that in
it's
here. Maybe
such a
because it
good
was too
question.
maybe
Yeah.
because it's too freaking early and I'm got sleep in my eyes.
It comes from BAM, by the way. So and it's a great question. And the follow up to that to me is this: as somebody who does it for a living slash side hustle like you do you enjoy it?
Well, if you're winning, you will, but if you're
Well,
losing, you
sure.
won't.
But I
You'll
mean,
turn that into a side. You'll turn it in from a side hustle to a part time deal, and you'll say, "Screw it, I'm just going to
yeah,
go have fun."
that's what I'm saying, I guess, because if you're going there to put work in, like multiple times a week, and you're there and you're building your bankroll and you're doing your thing, it becomes a job to some degree. Um, does it
Well,
suck the
there's
fun out of the game for you? Is my question. That's the follow
it
up then.
would if
Yeah.
if you're losing consistently, then
Hmm.
yes, you will. Now, just also the other thing is this: you don't have to be you don't have to throw the dice ever at a craps table if you don't want to or if you're not comfortable. Most
Hmm.
people just want to have the thrill of grabbing the dice and throwing them down the table, right? That's the majority of people. Um, but you can actually make money without ever touching these dice.
For
Just
sure.
so that you know,
And that comes down
you
to
just got
and that comes down to
you have to
betting,
learn how to bet,
right? And
and
that's
then you have to
actually,
be disciplined. You got to be
yeah.
disciplined to know that. And here's the other thing: I'm talking with somebody right now, and we were discussing things, and I'm like, listen, you come in and you buy in for X amount of dollars, call it $1,000, right? And you have to know that when you're up $200, you should be walking away. And then the
Hmm.
comment back is like what everybody else is going to say, which is,
I know it already.
well, damn, it's not even worth my trip coming up here for
Not worth
$200. Hell,
not worth the
I
drive.
bought in for I bought in for $1,000, and all I got a $200 profit. Well, shit, this could go on forever, and if I go like this, I'm going to win 2 grand, 3 grand. That's your right brain telling your
Hmm.
left brain to go puck off.
Exactly.
The reality is like this, folks. Everyone here has either a 401k, a savings account. They got some kind of fund that's earning more than what their savings account earns.
Hmm.
But when you get your statement, I want you to look at your statement and say, when's the last time I got 20% return on my money?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably what, maybe 10 years ago, 12 years, 15 years ago? Yep. Okay. 20, 22, 23, 25%. Don't look at the dollars, man. That's where
It's the
everybody gets
percentage.
confused.
Yeah.
Look at the percentage. The percentage means more than that dollar amount.
Hmm.
If you want a higher dollar amount, then buy in for more money and make your bets bigger. But make sure
Exactly.
that you don't overbet your bankroll.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there. And
There's a mathematic, and your buddy, was it PJ,
JB,
BJ,
JB.
JB backwards. Okay, so JB, he's a mathematician guy. Um, and then some of these guys in here are day traders too, like what I
Hmm.
do. You're not going to put 100% of your portfolio at risk. That is pure foolishness.
Right.
JB will tell you that there's probably going to be a mathematical number or percentage or whatever it is that you should be playing with, and then what you should consider to be a realistic goal. Based on the law of average numbers or whatever you want to call it, right? There's going to be some kind of mathematical sequence. I, for one, am not that deep into mathematics, right? But there is truth in numbers.
Hmm.
There is truth in numbers. There's truth in math. One thing about math is it never fucking lies. It's a
Truth.
quantifiable set of digits,
Yep.
right? That's what the math tells your right brain. Okay, there, Mr. Creative. This is the reality of it.
Hmm.
Quit fooling yourself.
It is the grounding point, right, for sure. And I think on this topic, it's important to remember what you just said a few seconds ago, which is if you want to win more dollars, buy in for more dollars, but focus on that percentage. And I said this before, if you hired a financial guy and said, here's a grand, right? And every cycle he is making you 20%, he'd be your best friend, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
but most people would laugh and scoff at $200. That's all you made
right,
me.
exactly. Well,
They
and
don't,
I
they
say
don't
this,
get it.
look at it as practice. And I tell people, and I put a challenge out a while back. Say, go to the casino with $100 and go play bubble craps with $100 and win $10. Just win $10 every day. I dare you to go to the casino, win $10 and drive home. It's not about the $10. It may cost you more money in bus fare to get there.
Sure, it
It's not
does.
about the dollars. It's the practice of, can I physically train my brain to go there, win a tiny bit, and walk out? And I say tiny bit, 20% is not a tiny bit, and walk
Uh,
out. It's so freaking hard to train yourself to do that. That's the mark of somebody who can actually do this as a side hustle. If you can do that and be like, fine, with $1,000, I'll take $200, 11 days in a row. You're
that's the
telling
hardest part of
yourself,
it.
it is, but you're telling yourself, if I had 10 grand, I could make 2 grand, right? When the money gets bigger, the practice that I put in mentally lets me make that decision. That you're building that discipline muscle up to do that. So I think that's interesting.
Well,
Arcades,
that's where the fear also comes in,
totally,
because what you're going to lose now 2 grand. You're like, oh shit.
yeah,
That's where all of a sudden, everyone starts looking at, oh shit, I just lost 20% of my bankroll.
yep,
Well, yeah, but you were up 20% a minute ago, and it wasn't good enough.
totally.
What makes losing the 20% so definitive in your mind that you're packing
Mhm.
up with your tail between your legs?
Yeah, it's the
Explain to me that mindset.
100%. That's, boy, I wish I could I'm gonna make a short for that. That actually encapsulates it perfectly. Right? Losing 20% would suck. Winning 20% not good enough. That's interesting. It's very, yeah, okay, that's awesome. Another question from Arcades. Being a fellow Texan, which casino do you go to? If you're going 3 times a week, where are you driving to?
Choctaw. I'm going to plug them. Choctaw Casino, Durant, Oklahoma.
Okay. Um, Also, being in Texas, I have to put you on the spot because I only got a few minutes left here. Are you coming to my cruise?
I thought,
At a
well,
at a Galveston?
yeah, I don't know, buddy. I don't know.
Let's
When
think
is it?
about getting you.
When is
It's
it?
April 28th.
Then
Me and
I'm
my
just
wife,
not. I mean,
we've
April,
never cruised
fuck.
before. We have never cruised before, and this is my
Yeah, I
first
know,
time on
but
a boat.
I'll be in Las Vegas in March.
Oh man.
That's the thing, right? I mean, I know everybody thinks, oh, well, you got all this time on your hands. Of course you can. Well, motherfuckers, it costs money. I don't have.
Go
I'm not.
go win a bunch of money
Sorry.
in Vegas. Go win a bunch of money in Vegas for us
Yeah.
and join us on the cruise. It'll be super fun.
March Madness is going to be a blast. I can't wait.
Oh my
I can't.
God, yeah. No question.
I love
No
it.
question. Yep. I got one for you here from Same Bet. Dave Carlin. I love when Dave Carlin comes on the show. What advice do you have for a timid or conservative player?
What advice do I have regarding what though? What advice do I have regarding what?
I don't know. He
The
didn't follow it
betting,
up. I would
or
go
in
betting.
betting?
I'm going to assume it's a betting advice question. Go.
Don't overbet your bankroll, or take the money that you're taking to play with. Figure out how long you want to be there for, or how many people you want to play with, and divide it out evenly.
Hmm.
Or have a predetermined set of win. It kind of falls back into maybe what we just said earlier. Understand that what percentage you should be happy with in losing, and then what percentage you're going to be happy with in winning. Establish what that number is ahead of time before you get to the table, so you have the right mindset going in, knowing that if you hit your minimum profit goal, then you would just walk away.
Yeah.
Don't think that, well, just because I met it here in like 5 minutes, and if I stay another 5 minutes, I'm going to double that up. That's a fallacy. Ain't gonna happen.
Truth. Yeah.
You stand the same chance of winning it as losing it on the next guy, the next
As
play,
a
the next.
for somebody who is more of a conservative or timid player, um, there's always this question about same bet versus press versus this kind of press. What do you feel about that? Is there? I've made this statement myself. There's no shame in same betting. There's no shame in taking money off
No
that
shame
table. And if you're a conservative player, that might be my advice. Like, just it's cool.
on a
Take the money.
conservative player. So on a conservative player, typically means you have a smaller bankroll. You have less available to lose.
Hmm.
Again, nothing wrong with it. at all. And I'm not going to talk down in a way, even though it might sound that way, but it's not meant that way. On someone who doesn't have a disposable bankroll, slow and steady wins the race.
Mm-hmm.
That is your conservative player. Slow and steady, slow and steady, slow and steady.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of experts, though. And here's the thing. When you get to the table and you have decided in your mind that slow and steady wins the race, you're going to have an expert to the left of you, an expert to the right of you who has a lot of money up there, 10
Mm-hmm.
grand, 5 grand, 7 grand. They're going to be the one that's looking at you and will say, man, you should be pressing that if you want to make money.
Yeah.
And that's where you look at him and go, man, I'm okay. I'm kind of playing my game my way. But if I do lose it on these presses, are you willing to make up that loss I just took on your advice?
Mm-hmm.
If not, yeah, if not, Gus, shut your fucking mouth.
I've heard that
You
before.
don't.
I've heard that. So it's funny. I've actually won a ton of money from an expert saying you should press and here's how you do it. And I said, okay, I followed the guy around a couple times and I won a ton of money. But most of the time, like in my earlier days, I had zero money.
I'm
And
not saying that you can't win. No, trust
oh,
me.
you
You
can,
make
you can.
more. I am an aggressive player. I'm telling you.
Hmm. Yeah, I know.
I'll be the guy that's out there freaking pressing because you can make a ton of money when you press. If you really want to
Sure,
make a lot of money, yes, you better start pressing right away. You better regress first down to get out of the hand, then press it to the freaking moon. That's the only way you're going to really make big money. But you're also going to lose big money. If your
sure.
bankroll isn't in alignment with that mindset, you're fooling yourself, man.
Yeah.
You're going to lose.
Well, the thing
You're
is,
going to lose faster than anyone ever has lost in their life.
the conservative, yeah, the conservative player cannot regress. And I've said this before, if you're a conservative guy,
No.
you cannot play a regression strategy because
Yes, you
regression
can.
means bigger
Hold
bets
on.
to
Yeah.
reduce down, right?
Rephrase. No. 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 That's not true. A
All right,
conservative
fix me.
player can regress. A
If they have the
conservative
bankroll,
player can
if they have the
regress.
bankroll.
It's dependent on the bankroll. Now,
Right.
someone playing table
Yeah.
minimum can
Hmm.
regress off the table. Yes,
Sure. Sure.
you can regress off the table, but you can't regress in the traditional sense of I'm
Right.
going 640 across, going to go down to 110.
That's what I was
You don't.
talking
You
about.
don't. You don't have enough money.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have
I
enough
was more
money for.
referring to the conservative with the smaller bankroll. With a small bankroll, regression is a tough way to play because
It's a tougher way.
you're going to put half of it out there, right? That's the point I was
But
making.
that's
The
where you have
conservative
to.
with the small bankroll is tough.
So the conservative with a small bankroll, my advice is if you're going in and all you can play is and if this is what it is, if the biggest table, the highest table, or what do they call it, table minimum is $5, and that's what you can afford to play,
Hmm.
then play it wisely. Which means if you want to catch every number that's out there and you want to play across, which is what the hell is that?
32.
What is table? 30, is it 30? No, is it 32 across now? Or
Yep.
like five? I haven't seen a $5 table in forever, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And you can't even
32.
do the fucking math. 32. So 32. So 32 across. If you're playing 32 across, and that's all you can afford to play, well, then you better stick to the math behind that too, which is you're at risk 32. Next number could be a 7. Question: are you okay losing $32 right now? Yes, no. And if the answer is no, then you really don't even have enough money to be playing on that table. But if the answer is yes, I can probably get away with losing $32, then let those dice roll. And if it hits one of your points, collect, regress that number and its sister. Now you're coming off the table slowly, gently, with a little bit of,
Hmm.
of confidence there. The second roll comes out, and if it hits another one of your remaining points, again, collect, regress off the table. And then
Yeah.
if you want to come completely down because what you have left is, you know, your 4 and 10, which is typically what's going to be remaining. You're at roll number 3. Well, okay, we'll let it ride one more, see what happens. Now you're only at $10 loss, okay, but that's what percentage of your bankroll, figure it out. Then roll again. If another box number hits, but it's not yours, now you're into roll number 4. Well, how many dice combinations, how many times is it before a 6 or before a 7 appears? You got 6, don't you? The average 5 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're on number 4, know your roll count. Okay, number 5, small bankroll, time to be really conservative. Take your 2 bets down, or lay the 4 and 10 just in case. Okay, if they peel you off for the $10, well then okay, you get peeled off on the 4 and 10. You would have gotten peeled off anyway if they threw a 7. Same scenario,
Yeah.
right? It's a loss. You're going to lose $10 one of two ways. If you roll a 7, okay, then you pick up $5 or $10. Sorry, you pick up your $10 flat. Okay, then now you're a winner. You've picked up a little bit of money. That's a conservative way of peeling yourself off the table, roll after roll after roll. And some people will look at it as it's foolishness. You're never going to make any money.
Right.
But they don't know what your personal situation is. They don't know what your financial situation is. They don't know how much money you really have to play with. And maybe you brought more than what you should have. Don't
Sure.
listen to those people.
Well, that
Don't
buys
listen
you
to them
time.
because
That way of playing
they,
buys you time
they don't know
as
what
well.
you're,
Yeah.
they don't know what you're playing with or what you're dealing
Right.
with.
That's right.
Play your own game. That's what I'm going to tell you.
Wow, I got more questions here, but I'm up against the clock. I have a 9 o'clock meeting that I have to go to. So we have time for like one quick one. And it's going to be
I'll give you short answers.
a quick combination. This is the last question. It actually comes from two people. Waylon asks, so which way do you play that never loses? And somebody else is saying, you don't use a strategy. What is your betting method other than just turning off and on based on what's rolled? So basically they're saying, or the question is, how do you play? Which I know is probably a whole other show for us, but your walk-up
I
strategy,
don't have a,
which,
yeah,
yeah, what's your,
I don't have enough time for that. But the way I play, I go heavy when it's me and I throw the dice. I'm coming in with about 640 right across the bat, but we're playing black across the tops. And I regress down all the way down to whatever I want to get down to, usually 110 inside.
so one hit, pay for it all, and then just rock it from that point forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm wanting to my strategy, my mindset strategy is get out of the hand as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that it doesn't matter how you do it, right? There's no right or wrong way to do that.
Sure.
But I know this. If I can come in and put some money on the table and get out of the hand after I'm done regressing and I'm playing on profit or even a portion of my profits, I'm not going to lose on that hand. So you can do it however you want to do it, whichever manner and whichever betting plan you use, however you decide to put your bets out there, that's strictly up to you, the belief system. But getting out of that hand with profit the first time, so now you're playing with your own profits, that's a smart way to do it, I think.
It's smart.
People may
I would,
disagree, but
well,
that's okay.
I don't disagree, but I want to leave you with a thought because I do have to go. I've done some work on this, right? Taking 640 across or whatever number across was, right? One hit to regress and then go. You're going to lose that initial bet 1 out of 6 times. It's going to go away to 640, right?
Yeah.
Or if you just leave it out there, so I'm willing to lose that and leave it out there and do your first your pressing up to pull 640 off the table at some point. Those two players actually end up in about the same spot over the course of a lot of rolls, which is surprising, but you got to be able to burn that 640 a few times to prove that out. It's interesting.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to leave you here. I am late for my class. Dude, thanks so much for being here. I could talk to you for hours, and we have talked for hours. We'll do this again because I think there's way more things for us to get into. There's more questions out there I couldn't get to, but the next time we do this, maybe we'll do like a fireside. We'll do like a 2-hour thing or something if you're into it.
Yeah, sure.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody in chat, thanks for the great questions. I couldn't get to all of them just because we talked too much. But great information, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye, everybody. Yeah, goodbye. Have a good weekend.
All right.
Thanks, man.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.